What's up, everybody? It's Alex from Heavy New York. We are back with Angel of Demolition Hammer, Them, Driven Mad, as well as 27 other bands.
Right.
And it's been such a long time. It's been approximately 2 minutes since our last interview.
It's been a long time.
Yeah. But we're going to talk a little bit about death metal now because I really feel like New York actually has an awesome death metal scene with bands like Suffocation, Pyrexia, Internal Bleeding, Dehumanized, Immortal Suffering, Malignancy. And you can't go wrong with that. And, we did a mini rant on death metal and, who really started it and where it goes from there.
Sure.
Let's just go back to what we said in our last interview. If you had a big four of death metal.
Well, I believe we went with
Suffocation,
Deicide, Morbid Angel, and Cannibal Corpse.
Did you hear the new Deicide record?
I heard parts of it.
It's so good.
I liked it. I don't have anything. Dude, I'm still stuck in those early batch of records, man. I really am. I go
Stench of Redemption? Till Death Do Us Apart?
We're going back even further, dude. Back to the beginning, man.
Till Death Do Us Apart?
No, before that was, I don't even know what was before that. But I'm talking about Legion.
Oh, fuck.
Deicide's Legion, or the self-title, Once Upon a Cross. I don't know. That Legion record is on its own level, and I always go back and listen to that record, at least 2 times a month. I'll pop it out and listen to it, and I'm like, this fucking record is just out of control.
Yeah, well, going back to death metal...
I never did anything like that again. It was,
Well, Deicide's one of those bands, because while they are definitely a death metal band, but they kind of have, a black metal subject matter behind them with, their satanic elements and stuff like that.
Anti-Christian, anti-God, and all that stuff.
Yeah, they're like...
Hail Satan.
Yep, exactly. But then, you take Cannibal Corpse, it's pretty much just straight brutality with them.
Straight brutality, yeah, man. Cannibal's a band I've kind of, I didn't just, I'm going to listen to Butchered at Birth forever, and that's it. I still listen to, I think I've gotten up to...
For me, it was the Bleeding that got me into them.
The Bleeding is a killer record. I think that's out of the Barnes era. I think that's the
that's the final Barnes record.
For me that's the weakest one, but it's still got some good tunes. And then you got dude, I love the Corpse Grinder era just as much as the Barnes era.
Yeah, to me I enjoy both, and I feel like the benefit of death metal is because if you take a band that had to rotate vocalists I don't know, a band that's not death metal. I don't know. Let's just think of one right off the bat. You take a band like Disturbed. You need David Draymond on all those records. If they got a new singer, it might not work out. But with death metal, I feel like the death metal vocals take place just as much as any of the instruments. Everything kind of works well together.
Look, Corpse Grinder got a little heat at first when he first came in. It was like, oh, he's not Barnes. He's not Chris fucking Barnes. And
I think it was just the Ace Ventura fans who felt that way.
Listen, a lot of people, it took time from what I saw, it took time for people to accept Corpse Grinder. In the long run, I don't know, man. Corpse Grinder, there's aspects that I love more about Corpse Grinder than I love about Barnes, and then there's certain things I like more about Barnes than I do about. So it's kind of like an even thing, but dude, I'll go back and I remember Vile when Vile first came out.
Oh god,
dude, that record is crushing. I mean, to this day, I go back and listen to that record and I'm like, oh, dude, why were people shitting on Corpse Grinder?
Pop
seriously,
quiz, what was going to be the original title of that?
Created to Kill. Come on.
Very good. I picked the right person to talk to.
I have it. I have that. I have the Created to Kill CD actually.
Are you fucking serious?
Yeah, I bought Cannibal Corpse had released a box set, and on that box set they released what is called the Created to Kill Sessions.
Wow!
So it's songs off of Vile with Chris Barnes, and guess what? Corpse Grinder crushed it. The Corpse Grinder versions are the right way to go. They were the right way to go for sure.
Definitely. What I was curious about, though,
in my opinion,
what I was curious about with death metal, though, is because I feel like death metal, in the end, is one of those subgenres of metal, which then made its own subgenres. You have technical death metal, you have progressive death metal, you have, for me, my personal favorite death metal band of all time, if you would count it as death metal, is Obscura. I love Obscura. I love Archspire. Like I love the noodly sort of death metal that's in there.
Yeah, for sure.
And then you compare Tampa death metal to Gothenburg death metal. To me, like, at what point does it not become death metal anymore? And if you're watching this, feel free to comment.
Once you get rid of the crazy growls, I mean, it's got to be mainly growls.
Well, Obituary doesn't necessarily use.
No, he's got his own little thing. John Tardy has his own little identity, but it's still a growl. He sounds like a tortured soul. Him and
it's very high pitched though.
Thomas Lindbergh from At the Gates has his own like little thing. Like he sounds like I like Slaughter the Soul. I always felt sounded like a guy going through hell. You know, like his soul is literally like being tortured. You know, tear his soul apart. You know what I mean? It's not clean singing. That's what death metal really is. You know, it's just,
then why do they
gonna stay in
why do they call Soilwork Swedish death metal?
They started out that way. They were like a melodic.
A Predator's Portrait? That wasn't their first one, right?
No, the first one was, I believe, Steel Bath Suicide.
And that had all.
But it's got a Chain Heart Machine. Like those very blast beats. There was no singing. It was just fucking what's the singer's name? Speed.
Bjorn.
Yeah, he's just fucking screaming his fucking ass off. And the guitar work was crazy. You know, that's more along the lines of like melodic death metal, but it had the Swedish sound for sure.
Yeah. I've noticed that to me the biggest distinction between European death metal and American death metal is American death metal has a lot less melody going on.
For sure. It's
very riff driven and blast beat driven and purely relentless the entire way.
It's very relentless.
Yeah.
I guess that's what death metal is all about, man. It's subject matter, but the subject matter has changed. Before it was all about brutal lyrics and, very anti-Christian. A lot of most of the bands were about that. And it was those two messages. It was very like anti-religious or anti-Christian or whatever, and then it was just very like, fuck you, I'm gonna tear you apart and blow your house up, and then I'm gonna rape your grandmother, something like that. Then somewhere along the line, it started to become political, and now there's more, story substance that's still there. The whole brutal thing is still there, but
well, see, for me, like I think with death metal, I couldn't give two shits about what the lyrics are because in the end, if it's just relentless growling to me, it's
it was that for me too. And then reading some of the lyrics. I mean, back then, I'm dating myself here. You buy a CD and you take out the book and you read the lyrics and you read the liner notes, and that's how you knew who was who. And some of the lyrics are hilarious. And the funniest thing was reading along and you still got lost. Like nothing made sense. Like I remember reading Nile lyrics for Catacombs at an Efren Cotte. It was the second record technically, but the first Relapse release. And I could not, I was just like reading words because I couldn't even register if he was even saying what I was reading.
That was Dallas Toller Wade still in the band, right?
Yeah, Dallas.
Yeah,
that was the first record with Dallas.
Yeah, that guy's a lyrical. Like I saw the lyrics in Narcotic Wasteland too. That guy's just a freaking death metal poet.
Yeah, and then between at that time it was Chief Spires on vocals, which they have the triple attack. All three of them. Carl Sanders does vocals as did Dallas. So it's three, and I saw them live on that tour. I've seen them live a bunch of times, and it's just like three fucking different types of gutturals coming at you. I tried to make sense of what was happening, and I was like, the fuck am I reading? I was like, okay, this is about like Egypt and shit like that, but
yeah, well, Well, to me, that's, because a lot of people, when people hear death metal, because most people who don't even listen to death metal even know who Cannibal Corpse is, so, like, they immediately think that all death metal is about gore and about killing and about that. But then you get into deeper lyrics by bands such as Nile or Obscura, and you see how they're able to kind of make brutal music.
Dude, there's this band called Wormed.
Yep.
From Spain. I don't know if you ever heard of them.
They're not from Spain.
Wormed is from Spain.
I thought they were from Southeast Asia. I thought they were from Singapore.
Wormed, Spain. So you can look it up right now.
I'm looking it up, but keep talking.
Wormed is from Spain. but like they're like fucking ultra brutal, technical death metal, and they sing about the cosmos, dude. They're singing about fucking space, and you know.
Oh, yep, you're right.
Of course, I'm right. Come on, man. It's the
no, I'm thinking of Wormrot. Okay, that's
Wormrot is from Indonesia.
Okay,
but yeah, dude. Like even like as far like Planispherium came out in the early 2000s, I believe, and we were like reading the lyrics. I'm like, what the fuck is he talking about? You know what I mean? Like none of it makes the vocals are like super fucking brutal, and he's just talking about fucking black holes and fucking stars going supernova and you know interdimensional shit. You know. Like astrophysics type of stuff. So people have been trying to like do different things for a while already with as far as the themes of death metal goes.
Yeah. Well, death metal's also evolved so much because maybe you could even because I don't understand how a person could love Cannibal Corpse or Deicide or Morbid Angel, but then hate like deathcore bands like Whitechapel. You know what I mean? Or early Suicide Silence or
I like I've only ever liked the first two Whitechapel records.
This Is Exile, and
the one before that was the Somatic Defilement.
Yeah.
I believe it was called. But Somatic Defilement is like a straight up like gore grind record almost. You know, it's fucking hyperblast, and the lyrics are fucking goofy. It's like you know, like a silly Cannibal Corpse record almost. You know, it's like chopping people up and you know whatever, like just brutal torture shit. From what I remember, because it's been a while since I heard that record, but I remember just laughing. I was like, really? And then the following one was This Is Exile. And it was very well polished, very well executed. And it had a good balance of like the breakdown type of thing, you know, because I'm not a super big fan of breakdowns all the time, you know?
Yeah, that to me is the number one.
I think a band who did that really well, I'm sorry to cut you off, but and they got like no love, man, but like they were extremely technical. Beneath the Massacre.
I've heard of
from
them.
Montreal, dude. That band was the fucking guitar player's retarded, the bass player's like retarded, the drums were sick, and the vocals were like that guy. I forgot his name, man, but he's like one of the most aggressive sounding vocalists, like as far as like that guttural range. And like I think they had like a good balance of breakdown, speed, groove, you know, the whole like, and it was intricate all the way through. I miss that band, dude. Beneath the Massacre was a killer band. If you haven't really checked them out.
From Montreal, though, I mean, Canada's been home to some amazing... They've been on a roll lately with them and Archspire, Critopsy, Guts, Cataclysm, Beyond Creation. Like,
yeah, man.
Canada's been on a roll lately with death metal.
Quovatus was another one that was really good. They were very... definitely more along the melodic, progressive angle, you know what I mean? But yeah, they had a fucking sick drummer and the guitars were sick. Well, everything was with Quovatus. If you ever hear them, check them out, man. Quovatus is a pretty good band. They don't exist anymore.
Yeah. Did you have a gateway drug into death metal? Because for me, I would not be into death metal if it wasn't for metalcore with bands like Killswitch Engage or Shadows Fall or All That Remains. So, like, or did you just pick up a freaking Suffocation record and just...
For me, it was high school. And, I was already listening to Metallica, Slayer, Megadeth, you know, the big four, as they say.
Yeah.
You know, and Iron Maiden I was into as well. And then somebody was like, oh, you know, you like, I had just started playing drums too. It's like, oh, you like that double bass stuff. Like, have you ever heard of Deicide? Somebody said Deicide. I was like, no, I never heard of that. What the hell is that? You know? And here, and gave me a set of headphones. I think it was like Once Upon the Cross. And I was like, the fuck is this? Like, this is fucking crazy. Like, I never heard it. You know, the craziest thing I'd heard was literally Slayer. So, it was almost immediate. I was like, I gotta go and buy this shit. And I had another friend who gave me, like, he would hand me mixtapes. It's like, dude, check this out. There's a bunch of shit in here. And through that mixtape, that's how I discovered Death. Morbid Angel, Grip Incorporated, a bunch of other things. Grip Incorporated is in death metal, but so yeah, that was like, this is fucking bananas. Like, I gotta go fucking find this shit. finding out the names of the bands. I remember I picked up like every Deicide record that was available at the time. So it was up to Once Upon a Cross. I went to those first 3 records. Picked up Morbid Angel's Covenant. I picked up At the Gates, Slaughter of the Soul. Cannibal Corpse were the first 4 Cannibal Corpse records up until the Bleeding. And of course, Effigy of the Forgotten by Suffocation. Like I was like, you gotta get this. Or then that's where the whole looking at the cool cover thing happened. That's like, I was like, oh, okay, this cover's fucking every day. I would walk up from my school and go to this record factory. And they just had this huge metal section. And like, I mean, they had all that stuff I named was there at that time. And then, then I started going to shows. And you meet other people and they're like, oh, you ever check out Dying Fetus? Did you ever check out Chrysian or Vader? You know what I mean? Like, I remember I saw Vader before I even heard Vader. And this was like in 98, dude. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, I got my ass kicked, dude, at that Vader show. Like, it was Vader with Morbid Angel. And I remember Vader playing, and it was like a fucking... Dude, it was just insane. The crowd went nuts. People were stage diving. And I got my head fucking smashed into the fucking monitor system. It was ridiculous, dude. It was ridiculous.
I remember you told me, you told me on the video podcast, or not the video podcast, the regular podcast that we did last year, or over a year ago now, was you first saw Lamb of God, and it was opening for...
Lamb of God was opening for Cannibal Corpse and Dimmu Borgir.
And The Haunted. That to
right.
me is like...
Lamb of God was the first band, dude.
Yeah, and to me, people always say that Lamb of God is death metal, and I'm just like, how the fuck do you consider that death metal?
No, it's more
groove.
That's for sure more groove. I don't know. I mean, listen, I may have said it back then. I'm not the biggest Lamb of God fan. I'm not, and I'm not gonna go and say that band fucking sucks. No, they're a really good band at what they're doing. Listen, there's times that, they come on and I'm like, that's a fucking cool riff, you know what I mean? Or like the fucking, Chris Adler's a killer fucking drummer. But, listen, if it doesn't do it for you, it doesn't do it for you. Yeah. I'm not one to go bash on something because it doesn't do it for me.
Yeah.
Be like, oh, those guys suck. Don't listen to that fucking band.
But at what point is it not... You kind of just answered the question a little bit, but you said when, like, it gets melodic. But at what point is it not death metal at all? Like, if you call something death metal, it's practically delusional. I've heard people call Killswitch Engage death metal.
They're not death metal.
No, not at all.
For sure, they're not.
Because a lot of people from the outside looking in, they think any band that has screaming and heavy riffing that's all it takes for it to be death metal.
Dude, there's so much going on musically, metal-wise. It's hitting so many subgenres.
There's a periodic table of metal right now.
It's insane, dude. And I don't know, man. So, like, when is it not death metal? Like, I guess, like, I wouldn't call Lamb of God death metal. Yeah. But they have some of the elements that are in death metal. The vocals are very aggressive. They're very, Randy's a very, fucking hard to understand type of guy. Unless he says, like, walk with me in hell. He's got his, like, own distinct thing. Kind of like I said, like John Tardy from Obituary. Like you said, well, he's not death metal. He's got his own thing, and it came from that era. You know what I mean? And I don't think Lamb of God... Then again, with this argument, you could say that Obituary isn't a death metal band either because there is no fucking blast beats in Obituary. But I think there is a song or two where Lamb of God has blast beats. Yeah. I remember there was this one record they put out. New
American Gospel?
I think it was a later one, but I remember hearing like blast beats and shit, and I was like, what the fuck is this? And they're like, oh, that's the new Lamb of God record. This was like fucking 8 years ago or something like that. And I was like, oh, they're doing blast beats now. Okay, death metal, cool, I don't know, man. For me, death metal's always been like, again, like those bands we mentioned, like, Cannibal Corpse. And I'll even go out to say Obituary is a death metal band.
Would you consider Children of Bodom death metal?
No, man. I used to love Children of Bodom when they first came out, man. Going back thinking about it, like, Those first 2 records.
Follow the Reaper, man. That's one of the best.
That's why I stopped listening to them.
Really?
I got that record and I'm like, what the fuck is this? You know, like, it wasn't for me. It just wasn't for me. It was different from those first 2. And yeah, you know what, man? Yeah, they had death metal elements for sure, but they had like this neoclassical approach to it, which nobody was really doing. You know, like Alexi's a fucking killer guitar player, dude. And they were doing all these like you know, like that fucking old school shred style, like, and like that. Nobody had done that. You know, it's kind of stayed to one element. You know, whether albeit thrash or death metal or whatever, it was, you know, crazy riffs, and then the solo section came, and whatever happened. You know what I mean? But with those guys, it was like kind of listen to like a classical piece, but with aggressive vocals. So I don't know what you would classify Children of Bodom like even now.
I've always thought like they had a similar effect as a band like Behemoth, kind of like blackened death metal almost in a way. They kind of have those 2
They
elements.
were at one time, but they're another band that just drastically changed their sound. They went another way, and I guess that's why I just lost interest. I don't know, like it was less. The charm was that neoclassical thing with the black and death vocals. You know what I mean? But then they stopped doing that. They started doing more like core things I would hear in some of the later stuff where I was like,
yeah.
What is this? What happened to the speed with you guys? You guys were like, you know.
All right. So let's play a game. I'm gonna name a band. You say yes or no if it's death.
Oh shit! Here we go.
All right. So we already went over Lamb of God and Children of Bodom.
Okay.
Okay. So let me think of Monstrosity.
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. Did you hear that new record?
I have not heard it.
It's awesome.
I've heard good things about it.
All right.
I gotta check it out. Lee Harrison's a badass.
Yeah.
Badass drummer.
I got the funniest comment on my phone interview with him because I was talking about Tampa, Florida, and I mentioned Under Oath to him, and they were like, "Yeah, you are definitely a millennial."
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You can't mention Under Oath in a fucking Monstrosity interview. What's wrong with you?
You know,
Lee Harrison rules.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
I've not had the privilege of meeting him. I have played the same festival as Terrorizer because, you know, he does guitar and vocals with Terrorizer. And
yeah.
I didn't meet Pete Sandoval, but I met Pete Sandoval a couple of times, and he's one of the best death metal drummers ever. But anyway, go ahead.
All right. Arch Enemy.
Ooh. I like to say at one point they were in the beginning.
When Bjorn was still in the band.
Yes, the original singer. But then, you know, Angela's also brutal. But the music, yeah, fuck it, we'll call them death metal. Sue me.
Cattle Decapitation.
Absolutely.
Really? Even with their song Mammals of Babylon that had like that clean singing?
They're fucking death metal, dude.
Okay. Hold on. I'm having fun with this. Obscura.
Yeah, sure. Of course.
Okay. Because some people say that when it gets too noodly.
I mean, you know what? We're just going to go that its roots are death metal. Like, this is where I'm going to look at it from. Definitely death metal roots.
Bloody roots.
And I'll disregard any sense of, like, melodic. Because then if you know, that's a melodic death metal band. It's a melodic technical death metal band. It's, you know, it's a fucking technical death metal band. It's actually a technical melodic death metal band. So I'm just going to say, okay, it's rooted death metal, and then whatever else.
All right, one last one for you.
Go ahead.
Fear Factory.
They started out.
Soul of a New Machine was as death metal as it gets.
Dude, you know, Burton sounded like fucking Barney from Napalm.
Yeah,
that first record.
His 2 biggest influences: Napalm Death and Godflesh. Those were his 2.
There you go. Yeah, for sure. That first record, and then the second one was, you know, they did something else. They went into something completely different. They started their own thing, you know, that whole like the future digital metal type of sound. You know, that was Fear Factory.
Yeah,
with Demanufacture. That's a great record.
That's
in its own right.
That to me is one of the best albums ever made.
They put out some really killer stuff.
Yeah.
I loved Dino's. You know, okay, so let me ask you this: what would you consider? Did you ever check out Divine Heresy?
That's Bleed the Fifth's one of my favorite albums.
Would that be a death metal record?
No, not at all. That to me is a little more of a metalcore record.
Would you believe them? That music, the fucking music to that record is like, I swear to God, it's got to be like 90% fucking death metal.
Yeah, death metal. I mean, you had fucking riffs, Tim Young on the drums, of course.
Tim Young destroys it on that fucking record. The fucking riffs are retarded.
Yeah, but then you had Tommy Vex and Travis Neal on the second record, they are, you know, Tommy Vex sang in freaking, you know, he sings with Bad Wolves now, but like, and then you had Travis Neal who sang in the Bloodline. Those are metalcore bands. Those are legit, like, sing, scream. And then, so that to me was a bridge between metalcore and death metal.
Yeah, that's why, you know, we're having this discussion on what makes death metal, you know, what makes death metal death metal. And it's so hard because death metal was something when it came out, like, you know, it had its formula. And that formula, people have fucking thrown so many different things into it, into this original batch, that has just gone off to so many fucking different things. So at this point, what is death metal?
Have you ever heard the first All That Remains record, Behind Silence and Solitude?
No, I have not.
That is melodic death metal. Like,
there you go. You know what's funny? I saw them with Phil on vocals, opening up for Death.
Yeah.
In '98.
'98, yeah.
And they were. Listen, they didn't.
Metalcore
I go see a band live. I'll listen to a record. You gotta touch me a little bit. You know what I mean? If it doesn't do that, then it's just.
You gotta listen to Behind Silence and Solitude again, and even This Darkened Heart.
Okay. Who's
like,
this? This is
All That Remains. Yeah. I mean,
I think I may have tried, and I was like, no, this isn't for me.
You probably looked up The Fall of Ideals, but...
I like Fall of Ideals.
Yeah.
That's the one record I like.
That's the one record by All That Remains that everybody knows, but, like, if you go
I know there's two previous ones or one previous one.
There's two.
There's two previous
Behind
ones.
Silence and Solitude is melodic death metal. Like, you would think that they are from Tampa, Florida.
What's the Heart one?
This Darkened Heart.
This Darkened Heart. That one I checked out.
The deepest grave.
Yeah, I wasn't too crazy about it. I mean, it could have been at the time, you know. Full of Ideals, like, I barely like that album. But I love Shannon Lucas, man.
Fucking, would you consider Black Dahlia murder death?
Fuck yeah, dude. Fuck yeah. Without a doubt. Hands down. Like, they got all, you know, Trev is all about that, you know?
Yeah. So,
for sure, if you were to say no, you're crazy.
Yeah, definitely. There's just, to me, like, I think death metal really is the, as I mentioned before, like, black metal doesn't need to be really... There's hints of other elements in there, but black metal in the end is just black metal. It's either black metal or it's not. Metalcore to me is either metalcore or it's not. But for death metal, like, if somebody says, I know this really good death metal band, I'm like, what kind of death metal are they?
Right. Yeah, for sure, you're right, 100%. Like I said, like, that's what goes back to that. Came as this original formula, and people just kept throwing shit into it. You know, people who were listening probably... Somebody listening to Deicide was like, well, I love listening to fucking Beethoven or whatever. And that's how you got, like, you know, like Children of Bodom, you know.
Yeah.
That's how that, you know, listen, you put that and then you put, like, Death's Human record, which was, you know, that changed the game for death metal, you know, and death thrash. Like, oh shit, like, it threw a jazz element in there that was never present in that type of music before. So now what? Now there's jazz death metal? You know, jazz and progressive death?
There's so much death metal, it's not even funny.
I think you take your elements and throw it into what you love most.
One more band. Meshuggah.
Well, they started Gent, no?
I still to this day don't...
They're not death metal. I mean...
They really went into the studio...
Dude, there's one death metal song I feel that Meshuggah did. It was that song War.
I don't know. Like,
have you ever heard War?
I've heard of it, but like, I don't know. To me, Meshuggah has like European death metal.
Sure, yeah, of course,
like,
man. I mean, you know, again, Meshuggah's a unique band, dude. They started their own thing, and it's definitely the whole fucking math. You know, it's fucking hard to grasp, but they figured out a way to be mathy and groovy at the same time, you know, which is really hard because, see, here's the thing, bands, they become really technical and they play all these crazy things, and a lot of them don't get that much success. You know, they get very little, and then most of the fans cry, why isn't this band fucking huge? They got the best guitar player, they got the best drummer, they got this, they got that. It's like, dude, because the common listener doesn't care that the dude's playing, you know, a 64th note arpeggio speed tap at, you know, 230 beats per minute, like, and
tuned down to drop C sharp.
Whatever. They don't care that the drummer's playing 290 BPM, you know, and he's fucking going through different, you know. 6 different time signatures, after one bar. The common listener doesn't care about that. Unfortunately, listen, I like to sit there and listen to fucking all the techie stuff. I mean, like I said, you're talking about Beneath the Massacre, early Faceless is killer, Archspire, like you said. Origin is one of my fucking all-time favorite bands.
Those guys are sometimes too brutal even for me.
I've fucking been a fan of those guys. I've seen those guys from the first record to now. Like, I always go see them live. John's one of my favorite drummers. But, again, it's not for the common listener. You know what I mean? So you got, what's going to listen to that type of music? Musicians, first and foremost, probably. And a couple of eccentric folks who, they have a nice open mind. And I like this. I like this chaos.
Or any teenager who hates their parents.
Right. I enjoy this chaos. I enjoy, whatever. Maybe they listen to fusion music, so they get it because it's all over the place. But that's it. And that's a very small percentage compared to the rest of the globe. So, when a band like Lamb of God is like huge, they're a fucking big band. Behemoth is getting really big. They're fucking getting ginormous. And I never saw that coming. Because when they first came out, they were just fucking, I'm not saying that they were a methy band, but they were so brutal when they first came out. They're a very different band from the beginning to now. And they've changed drastically. And like I can almost, when it did start to happen, I kind of saw it almost in a sense where it's like I saw them going back to Deicide. I saw Behemoth opening up for Deicide.
Wow. What year was that?
This must have been 2001 or 2002.
Fuck, I was in first grade.
This was like a Zoskias Occultus record, which is a fucking insane record. I think it was their first or second time in the States. And, dude, they were just so brutal. It was like mini Morbid Angel almost. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At that time. And then somewhere along the way, now they started adding, mind you, when they came out, they just had fucking sleeveless t-shirts on and just a little bit of corpse paint on their face.
And now
they wear fucking, the guy comes out looking like Ultraman and they have fucking like costumes and whatever. Again, this goes back to when we're doing the Them thing, like a theme. There's a theme now to the band, I'm sure like Nurgle figured out, like, let me put a good stage show, a good show. Let me put some songs to back it up. That's why now more Behemoth songs have these more groovier, It's easier for a listener to grasp.
Yeah.
When you can, I feel like that's the key to success. Grooving. If you want to go beyond the musician and, the couple of people who will like your band because you're fucking brutal and playing, a million different... You want to stay true to yourself, keep doing it, and that's great. I will never fucking... Oh, you're a fucking jackass. You could be making more money. No, fuck it. That's what you love, dude. You're staying true to yourself. That's the most important thing.
Well, to me, I think the band that I personally think, like, I loved this band from the get-go, but the fact that they were opening for Metallica just recently surprised the hell out of me, and that's Gojira.
Gojira. Dude, Gojira's another band. But Gojira's been this... You know what, dude? The only thing they did was they probably got a little more groovier.
Well, yeah.
As of lately. But they've always been groovy. But they had death metal elements in the beginning, too.
Exactly.
Very much so.
I personally think they were death metal until Magma came out.
The first 4 records had all these death... But they grooved. And you got to give... you have to understand that to get somewhere musically, you have to have... earworms, a hook. You have to have a hook. You have to have things that drag the common listener. You kind of want to grab the common listener. If you want success in your band, you got to be able to do something that's going to grab the You got to go beyond. You have to show enough for the musicians who love all the techie stuff to be like, oh, these guys are really good players, and they're coming with fucking mini riffs. All right, I'm going to listen to this band. And then then you got your basic listeners. They're going to be like, oh, yeah, this is fucking cool. I like what they're doing. And then you go that one step further, the one that gets you to that next level. And that's, the basic person who doesn't care that you can play fucking, 4 signatures at the same time. There's like, oh, this fucking riff is killer. The groove. And Meshuggah does that. better more so than any of the other bands in that style. Because you can kind of get lost with them if you're not a musician. Like I said, you're gonna have a bad time with it. You play, fucking something like After the Burial for somebody, and like somebody who just listens to Slayer or whatever, they're gonna be like, "The fuck is going on? I don't get it. Where's the beat?" That's it.
Yeah.
And most people's argument is gonna be, "Oh, you don't know what you're fucking talking about. You don't know music. You're not a musician." Right? They're not a musician. They're not supposed to know that they're playing, 7/8 over fucking 3/4. They're not supposed to know that. They just want to know that the music's gonna make them feel something and they can grab onto it.
Yeah.
A band like Meshuggah, oh man, that fucking, most people, the common listener.
Well, to me, Cannibal Corpse, I think the reason why they are one of the most successful death metal bands. No, they are actually. This is not an opinion. This is a fact.
For sure they are.
They are the most successful death metal band. I think Deicide is number 2, and Morbid Angel I think is number 3. But I
think Morbid Angel above Cannibal.
No. Cannibal Corpse is. If you read about them, they are.
Morbid Angel above Deicide is what I meant to say.
No, Deicide is number 2. I think.
You think, or
I'll look up my phone after
Listen,
this.
I'll tell you this. I saw Morbid Angel in a fucking arena with Slayer and
Pantera. Oh, with Static X was on that bill too, right?
The Extreme Steel Tour.
Yeah.
They were the first death metal band to go on an arena tour.
Yeah, and then it was Static X afterwards, and then Pantera and Slayer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, which is awesome. But
actually, Pantera headlined.
Okay.
Pantera was headlined.
Good. But I don't know, because to me, Cannibal Corpse is the perfect example of what a death metal band is supposed to be. You compare Eaten Back to Life to their latest record, Red Before Black, there's very little difference between the two. In the end, it's just relentless death metal, and they just kept doing their own thing. They are the perfect example of a death metal band that just doesn't give a fuck.
Well, they never strayed away from their sound, man. Cannibal's been Cannibal. They never really tried new things.
Yeah.
I think that's the
and Dying Fetus is another one.
Absolutely, for sure. Cannibal just they stayed true to the formula. You said the first record you said Eaten Back to Life sounds like the new one. I haven't heard the new one, but their sound drastically changed from Eaten Back to Life moving forward. With that being said, it didn't change that much.
Yeah, in the end, it's just death metal to me.
For sure, but a band like Morbid Angel, every record sounds different from the last one.
Yep, especially their best one in 2011, Divinium Insanus.
Oh yeah, that's a fucking death metal masterpiece.
I had to.
I is a death metal masterpiece. I always said about that record is they had fucking Tim Young on drums, dude.
Tim Young is the best.
They had that fucking dude on the drums, and they could have put out. Have you ever heard Decrepit Births? And Time Begins?
Yes.
That's Tim Young on drums, dude, and that first record. And it's insane. The first Hate Eternal was also him. He did this band called Agiel. That's like a...
Divine Heresy.
Yeah, Divine Heresy.
He's in I Am Morbid right now.
I mean, you got this fucking guy, dude, and you could have put out... No discredit to Pete, you know what I mean? But you fucking could have stayed around that same avenue. You could have done another Formulas Fatal to the Flesh as type of record. Gateways. And instead, they went fucking, let's dance.
You know what? I think, and I think Suicide Silence got the same shit for the same reason with their newest record. I think if it was a different band title and a different, let's say that record came out and it was just a brand new band.
Who?
Morbid Angels, Divinium Insanus. Let's say some other band put out that record who was more known for doing a sound like that and it wasn't Morbid Angel over that. Do you think it would have gotten shat on as much? Take Morbid Angel and everything they've ever done out of that. Let's say that's...
if a band like Static X released...
Yeah.
Maybe would have been okay, that's not so bad. It's because they are part of that sound, that industrial, type of vibe. If Nine Inch Nails put out the same album, it would have sucked, probably.
Yeah.
Even by Nine Inch Nails standards. But we're talking about Morbid Angel. Morbid Angel has put on some of the best death metal albums ever. They were one of the forefathers. Trey, Pete, Steve. Steve now, but Trey, Pete, Vincent, and the original guitar player was Richard Brunel, and Eric Rutan. But now, with that record, when that record came out. I mean, the new record, the last one that came out,
Kingdoms
Kingdoms
of
of Disdain, is
that's a
fucking nuts, dude.
That's a fucking.
That's what they should have done with fucking Trey, with Tim on drums, dude. They could have done something like that. Maybe even more bananas. Even though Scotty Fuller is nuts, dude. Abysmal Dawn is a killer band.
Yeah. Oh God, Abysmal Dawn I think is one of the best. I saw them twice. They opened for.
They got no love, man. I don't know why they don't get any love.
They are. Listen, I saw them twice. They opened for Cannibal Corpse, Obituary, and Critopsy, and then I saw them again with Marduk, and I thought they blew the fucking place apart.
Yeah, dude. They're no joke.
Yeah,
they're a no joke band.
And but you know, it's funny because we were talking about European death metal. One of my favorite albums of all time is one of the most shat on albums in European metal, and that's A Sense of Purpose with In Flames. Now, it's definitely not death metal at this point, but
see, I'm not a big In Flames guy.
You're not even a fan of the Clayman record?
Yeah, no, man.
Or the Gesture Race?
No, I don't know why, but I love Entombed, like early Entombed. I love. At the Gates, of course. Early Soil Work. Dissection.
The Haunted.
I love that first Haunted record, dude. I think it's self-titled, or is it called The Haunted Made Me Do It? Or is that the second one? And the second one is The Haunted Made Me Do It, which is also pretty good. But that first one, man, that first Haunted record with Peter Dolving on vocals, oh, dude, that record's a shit. Riff Mania. Riffs, just riffs.
That to me is, in the end, what makes death metal so awesome.
It's riffs, how the drums accompany it. It's got to be. It's all about everything. How everything is put together. It's all about the riffs, man.
To me, it's the riffs and the drums, and I think I think death metal just got its sound because growling, guttural vocals are the best things to go along with those two.
Absolutely, especially that that first record. Dude, it was just very aggressive.
Yeah, very
aggressive album. And the second one was good too, and then I kind of just stopped. There's so much shit going on, man. I think I've kind of just gone backwards. I've gotten away from it because there is so much.
Yeah, it's especially nowadays.
There's a lot to fucking take in, you know.
There's really no right way to start with death metal at this point anymore either. Back in the day, from your time, like. There was Cannibal Corpse, Morbid Angel, like that. But now, like, some people just getting into death metal, I'm like, well, I ask people, what do you listen to now? Okay, here's Archspire, or here's Cannibal Corpse, here's, At the Gates. Like, I feel like there's really no place to start anymore with death metal.
I know, for sure, dude. I mean, but now there's more like, the young accessible bands, like Black Dahlia is one of those accessible bands.
Gate Creepers becoming one.
I have not checked out Gate Creeper.
You haven't?
No.
Full of Hell?
Full of Hell I have, yes.
But dude, you gotta check out Gate Creeper.
I will.
Yeah, also, Immolation.
Oh, dude, I love Immolation.
Can't go wrong with Immolation.
That's on record, live, I'm saying it here right now, the most evil sounding death metal band of all time.
I concur. I saw them with Max Cavalera doing Return to Roots.
There is nobody more evil sounding than that band. Nobody. I don't care what you're singing about. I don't care how down-tuned your guitar is. I don't care how fast your drummer is or whatever. That band is the most evil sounding band. And I remember I got reminded of it. I saw them opening up for Carcass at St. Vitus.
Oh, wow.
And, dude, I saw Immolation like fucking 98, 99, like back then during Failures for Gods. And it was amazing. Whatever. And I hadn't seen them in a while. And I saw them opening up for fucking Carcass a few years back. And I was reminded. I was like, dude, this is so fucking evil. Like, it really is fucking like hell. Like, if I walked into hell and like there was fucking music playing, it would be fucking Immolation.
Can't go wrong with
That's
that.
it, dude. And they're the sweetest guys too, which is so funny, man.
Yeah.
Have the most evilest sounding
music. Most death metal musicians are like the nicest guys.
Yeah, for the most part, absolutely. The death metal community is
definitely, and especially here in New York. I mean, I met Terrence from Suffocation numerous times.
Dude, Terrence is one of
the coolest people ever.
One of the sweets, man. He's one of the sweets. Him, the
Internal
guys,
Bleeding.
I played with IB. Yes, they helped me. They gave me a nice little like push when I was coming up.
Pyrexia.
Pyrexia is another band. All good guys.
Malignancy.
The reason I play in Demolition Hammer is Danny Nelson. We just played with them at the Quebec Death Fest over the weekend, and they're great and they're insane.
Yeah,
they're fucking nuts. Ron Kachnik is one of the craziest fucking guitar players, dude.
Can't go wrong. So, I think we went with, dude, we're at 45 minutes.
We can keep going, dude. We want to end it? You want to end it? We'll end it.
We should end it. I'm fucking starving, and I gotta pee really bad.
All right, man. Yeah, dude, it was good talking death
metal. We gotta
metal.
do a part 2 on this.
A part 2 on this. Listen, man, death metal, it's
alive and well.
Alive and well, and like I said, all this subgenre shit, you know, if we never do a part 2, it's a fucking basic formula. If you want to hear the basic formula, go into the late 80s, listening to Possessed, Death, and, you know, fucking...
Carcass.
Carcass, yeah. Sure, you can Carcass, then listen to Morbid Angel and fucking Cannibal Corpse and all that shit. And that's where it all started, and that's the bulk. And that's what you're going to hear in everything else. And just other bands have taken that element, but they've also taken elements from different bands. And that's why it's become so hard to label a death metal band these days. But, you know, for me, those bands, that's the fucking...
Last band, death metal or not, Three Doors Down.
Oh, dude, that's extreme tech. That's extreme tech, psycho jazz, progressive,
core
death metal. 3 Doors Down.